Did you know there are prereqs to getting a basic cybersecurity analyst job? Yes, prerequisites are required. However, they may not seem as hard as you may think. And today, we're going to get into going over what they are. But first, for those that are new to my channel, today I am going to discuss the prereqs for landing a cybersecurity analyst job, whether or not you have a degree. Because believe it or not, there are prerequisites, and management in the cybersecurity world prefers not to have to teach basic IT knowledge. However, these prereqs aren't as challenging as you might think. To kick things off, your prerequisites should include learning basic IP information, understanding ports, and knowing the difference between a stateful and stateless firewall. This is a simple studying for the Network Plus certification. You don't have to take the exam, but it would greatly benefit your career if you did. However, simply studying and grasping the fundamental knowledge of IP, networking, and networking devices will significantly enhance your chances of not only becoming a cybersecurity analyst, but excelling in the role. See, what will also greatly boost your career prospects is spending a year or two in the field of networking jobs and roles. You can also work as a junior security engineer role where you can configure firewalls, servers, and more. Because nothing frustrates a cybersecurity manager, especially one that is not that good at the job, more than having to explain what's on the screen. See, if you didn't know what those ports were, if you didn't know that port 80 is HTTP, port 445 deals with SMB, and port 443 is HTTPS, your career as a cybersecurity analyst would likely face challenges, including passing the interview. This is why this prerequisite is highly recommended. Because as a cybersecurity analyst, you spend a lot of time reviewing tickets, IPs, ports, communications, host names, login information, and being able to understand the difference between RFC 1918 and the difference between a public IP will greatly boost your career inside a cybersecurity analyst role. Next, you'll want to grasp the fundamentals of AD. If you're not sure what AD even means, then this step is exactly for you. I highly recommend picking up a book on AD, specifically Windows AD. And when I say Windows AD, I mean on-prem. Now yes, there is Azure, what's known as Entra. I might have said that wrong. But there is Entra AD. And yes, you should learn that as well, because a lot of companies are moving to AD in cloud. However, there's always an on-prem connection, always an on-prem ID, especially in isolated environments. So learning Windows AD, learning how users in groups are created, used, modified. Now, do you need to read the entire book cover to cover when you pick up a book on AD? Most likely not. However, you do need to understand certain key elements that will help you triage alerts, such as Windows event codes, nested groups, and more. AD replication is a huge item that you should learn, because if you can spot that, you can save a company from a disaster. If you were able to instantly identify these numbers on the screen, then you're better off than most cybersecurity analysts. But if you could not, then you should understand that these numbers on the screen is exactly why you should investigate them. See, 4724 and 4729 can definitely be critical in triaging events. And with these simple event codes, if you do not understand it, that they are critical for a reason, then you will miss critical alerts. Because when users are removed from a security group, you want to be the first to identify what security group they're removed from and why. And this could be as simple as an administrator was doing it, and it is a legitimate action, or a threat actor is doing it, and it is not a legitimate action. And a lot of times, threat actors, once they're in your network and they have enough access, because all it takes is one, they will start removing users from security groups and adding them to security groups. So remember, these event codes are critical. Next, you'll want to familiarize yourself with Linux. And I love Linux. But the quickest way to do this is by studying for the Linux Plus certification, or getting some Red Hat and Ubuntu books. Alternatively, you can install Kali Linux virtual machine at home, and then investigate logging, syslog, and where your system stores logs of failed login attempts. You could also use Ubuntu or just store and install any NICs you want. However, taking the time to learn how to add users to groups, make new users, administrators, and understand where those logs are stored on that NICS device is going to put you at a higher stepping stone than most other cybersecurity analysts. Because when you get that ticket for a Linux device, you will be able to understand what log that is, how to read the log, and how to differentiate between a false positive and a true positive. Also understand that most security tools are built in Linux or NICS. And if you can understand NICS, you can pivot your career into a cybersecurity engineer or other back-end tools inside of security. So let's be honest. If you use Windows and you're watching this video, please comment why. Let me know in the comments below why you're choosing Windows. Because if it's something like your company requires it and you hate it, in that case, we're cool. Just kidding. But seriously, Linux is where it's at. And it's a great tool to use. Now, if you follow these prerequisites, the time it takes to learn them all will depend on your reading speed and dedication. With effort, you can get up to speed in probably about a month, maybe 3. Will you be a professional? No. Will you be able to pass an interview? Potentially. However, understand that the most valuable learning tool is spending 6 months in one of these roles. as hands-on experience will explode your career and allow you to choose a career that you like and enjoy, where you can learn skills and be more aggressive in your growth throughout your career. See, taking a job in one of these roles will allow you to put your knowledge into practice rather than just reading about it. So I highly recommend, if you're new and looking to get into a cybersecurity analyst role, spend some time in that help desk position, that knock role, that junior sysad role. Take the time to really work as a junior IT individual before pivoting into cybersecurity, because that will help explode your career. And it requires it because you need to understand how tools work, so when you get alerts, you understand how to triage them. Enjoy.